Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into the world of Jacob Boehme.
Oh, who?
You shared some excerpts from Aurora with us, and
One of my favorites.
I'm so curious to unpack his ideas on salvation,
Hmm.
inner transformation, and that whole divine spark concept.
Yeah, his work can be pretty dense.
Yeah.
But I think we can unpack some key concepts from Aurora
Okay.
to give you a better understanding of his unique perspective.
Okay. Perfect.
You ready to get mystical?
Let's unpack this.
Okay.
Boehme seems to be saying that salvation isn't just about religion,
Right.
but about a much deeper internal shift.
Exactly.
It's not about what you do, but who you are, right?
Yeah. Boehme emphasizes that true salvation is an ongoing process
Right.
of aligning yourself with the suffering, death,
Yeah.
and resurrection of Christ. But he's not talking about a literal physical process.
Right.
He's talking about an inner experience,
Okay.
a spiritual transformation.
And to illustrate this,
Right.
he uses that rather intense analogy about the wickedest man. Yeah.
Not being able to crucify Christ unless Christ were already present within them.
Exactly.
What do you think Boehme is trying to convey with that?
Well, he's highlighting the idea that this transformative power of Christ is
Okay.
already within each of us, just
Yeah.
waiting to be awakened. It's
Right.
not something external that's imposed upon us. It's
Right.
an inherent potential that we can tap into
Mm-hmm.
through inner work and spiritual striving.
So it's like this potential for both good and evil resides within each of us.
Absolutely.
This makes me think about Boehme's concept of the two natures of man.
Right.
He talks about this struggle between the flesh,
Yeah.
prone to sin,
Yeah.
and the spirit seeking God.
Exactly.
It sounds like an internal battle we're all facing.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Boehme even acknowledges his own personal struggle with this duality.
Oh, wow.
He states, I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
Oh.
He's being very honest about the challenges of this spiritual journey.
Even for someone deeply devoted to God,
Right.
this internal conflict is a constant reality.
This makes me wonder, is Boehme suggesting that achieving salvation is even possible?
That's a good question.
If this struggle is ongoing, does that mean we're destined to flip-flop between these two natures?
I don't think Boehme sees it as an either-or situation.
Okay.
It's more about recognizing these two forces within us
Okay.
and actively choosing to align ourselves with the divine light. It's a process of refinement, of continually striving to embody the qualities of the Spirit,
Okay.
even amidst the pull of our, kind of baser instincts.
Okay, so there's this divine light we can align with.
Yes.
This seems central to Boehme's thinking.
Absolutely.
What exactly is this light, and is it accessible to everyone?
So Boehme believed this light was a universal force,
Okay.
a divine spark present in all beings,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their religious beliefs or background.
Really?
He even emphasizes the importance of unity and understanding between different faiths, stating that it's not outward labels that matter, but the inner transformation.
So you're saying that for Boehme, connecting with this divine spark isn't about subscribing to a specific dogma or anything like that?
Exactly.
Or rituals, even?
Not at all. It's about this internal awakening, this shift in consciousness.
This brings me to something I find really fascinating about Boehme.
Okay.
He doesn't just see this internal struggle playing out within individuals.
Right.
He also observed it in the natural world.
Yes.
This whole nature's language concept is really intriguing.
It is.
Could you elaborate on that a bit?
So Boehme believed that natural phenomena were symbolic expressions of spiritual truths.
Interesting.
He saw the world as a book,
Okay.
filled with divine messages waiting to be deciphered.
Okay.
And he believed that by understanding the language of nature, we could gain a deeper understanding of God's creative power
Okay.
and our place within the cosmos.
So for Boehme, understanding the divine is like dissecting a tree,
It's a great way to put it.
each part revealing a deeper layer of truth.
Yeah, he uses the tangible aspects of a tree
Okay.
to represent these abstract spiritual concepts.
Mm-hmm.
For example, he describes the garden as the world, the soil as nature, the stalk as the stars,
Wow.
the branches as the elements, the fruit as humanity, and the sap as the deity.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is.
But if the divine is reflected in everything around us, does that mean everyone can just read these natural symbols?
I think Boehme would say that everyone has the potential to develop this awareness,
Okay.
but it requires a shift in perception,
Mm-hmm.
a willingness to see beyond the surface of things.
It sounds like Boehme is challenging us to become more mindful,
Absolutely.
more attentive to the subtle language of the natural world.
Yes.
And perhaps through this deeper observation, we can start to glimpse the divine spark that's present in all of creation.
That's a beautiful way to frame it.
Now, Aurora also introduces the 7 qualifying spirits.
Yes.
Which I have to admit are a bit confusing to me.
They are for a lot of people.
What exactly are they, and how do they fit into Boehme's overall system?
So think of these qualifying or fountain spirits as dynamic forces,
Okay.
like energies that drive creation.
Okay.
Boehme uses sensory language to describe them. Astringent, bitter, sweet, and hot.
Right.
Now, these aren't literal substances. They're more like principles or archetypes that shape and govern the universe.
So they're kind of like the building blocks of reality.
Precisely.
And these forces are at play both within us and in the world around us.
Exactly.
Boehme even uses these qualities to explain Lucifer's fall from grace.
He does?
It sounds like a cosmic cautionary tale.
It is.
Can you tell me more about that?
So Boehme's account of Lucifer's fall highlights the dangers of pride and the misuse of divine power.
Okay.
He describes Lucifer, initially aligned with God, allowing the astringent quality representing pride and self-assertion to dominate, leading to a separation from the divine.
So this fall isn't just some ancient myth,
Right.
but an ongoing struggle that we all face. Boehme's description of this perpetual warfare with the devil sounds pretty intense.
It does.
Do you think he meant this literally, or is it more about the choices we make every day?
While Boehme uses strong language,
Yeah.
I believe he's speaking metaphorically about the constant inner battle we all face.
Oh,
He's reminding us that we have the potential for both good and evil within us,
right.
and that our choices have real consequences both for ourselves and for the world around us.
This idea that Lucifer's fall isn't just a one-time event, but a constant possibility is a bit unsettling.
I can understand why you'd feel that way.
If even an angel can fall from grace, what does that say about our own capacity for making the right choices?
I think Boehme would argue that it highlights the importance of vigilance, self-awareness, and a constant striving to align ourselves with the divine light.
It sounds like Boehme is suggesting aligning with this divine light requires a lot of effort.
It's not a passive thing.
Achieving salvation isn't a passive process. It's about actively confronting our shadows and making conscious choices that lead us towards a higher state of being.
That's right. Boehme saw this inner transformation as a process of refinement,
Okay.
a continuous journey of shedding our old patterns and embracing the qualities of the spirit.
You know, when you put it that way, it makes Aurora seem less like a dense theological text and more like a roadmap for self-discovery.
Yeah, I can see that.
But how would someone even begin to apply these ideas in their own life?
That's a good question.
What would be a practical first step towards finding that divine spark?
Well, I think Boehme would encourage us to start by paying attention,
Okay.
to become more aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our motivations, to observe the world around us with fresh eyes, seeking the hidden meanings and connections that might reveal the divine presence.
Yeah.
He'd also likely suggest spending time in nature,
Okay.
contemplating its rhythms and cycles,
Right.
and allowing its beauty to awaken our spiritual senses.
It sounds like Boehme believed that the answers we seek aren't necessarily hidden in books or doctrines.
No.
But in the lived experience, in the direct encounter with ourselves and with the world around us.
That's a wonderful insight.
This is all incredibly thought-provoking.
It is.
But I have to admit, Aurora seems like a pretty challenging read.
Oh, it is.
How important is this text within Boehme's overall body of work?
Very important.
Is it essential reading for anyone interested in his ideas?
Aurora is definitely considered foundational to understanding Boehme's thought.
Okay.
It's where he first articulates many of his key ideas.
Okay.
And although it's a complex text, our secondary source even mentions finding Aurora to be the most illuminating of all of Boehme's works.
Wow, that's a pretty strong endorsement.
It is.
It sounds like it's worth the effort.
I think so.
For anyone seeking a deeper understanding of Boehme's mystical vision,
Absolutely.
even if it takes some time and dedication to unpack its layers.
It's a text that rewards patient and attentive reading.
So it's about taking the time to really sit with his ideas.
Yes.
Let them simmer.
And allow them to provoke us, challenge us, and ultimately transform us.
That's the spirit. Boehme's work is meant to be engaged with, not just passively consumed.
Right.
It's an invitation to embark on a journey of spiritual discovery and self-transformation.
It's interesting that you mentioned conversation.
Yeah.
It makes me think about Boehme's concept of the language of nature. He seems to suggest that we can have a dialogue with the divine through the natural world.
Yes.
That nature itself can be a source of revelation and guidance.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about passively observing nature.
No.
It's about actively engaging with it.
Exactly.
Seeking its deeper meanings and allowing it to speak to us, to reveal its secrets.
That's a great way to put it.
This makes me think about another key aspect of Boehme's work, his unique perspective on angels.
Yes, angels.
Are we talking about the winged figures with halos, or is there something more to Boehme's angels?
Boehme's angels might surprise you.
Okay.
They're not simply ethereal beings floating around in heaven. He describes them in ways that are far more dynamic.
Okay.
And, dare I say, even a bit unconventional.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, for Boehme, angels are more like dynamic forces.
Oh,
Expressions of God's creative power that are woven into the very fabric of creation.
so instead of thinking of angels as messengers or guardians,
Right.
we should be looking at them as active participants
Yes.
in the ongoing work of the universe.
Precisely.
Wow.
Boehme saw angels as intimately connected to the 7 qualifying spirits we discussed earlier.
Okay.
He believed that each angelic order was aligned with one of these qualities or fountain spirits.
It sounds like these angels are far from passive figures.
They are very active.
They're actively involved in shaping and directing the course of events, both on a cosmic scale and in our individual lives.
That's a great observation. Boehme describes them as singing, ringing forth, dancing,
Wow.
rejoicing, and jubilating. He paints a very vivid picture of angelic activity.
Right.
A constant interplay of these divine forces shaping and driving creation.
Wow. That's quite a departure from the serene images of angels we often see in art. It sounds almost like a cosmic party.
Boehme actually uses the term divine holy sport to describe the interplay of these angelic forces.
Okay.
He emphasizes the joy and vitality inherent in their activity.
It's fascinating to consider that these angels aren't just up there in heaven, detached from our earthly realm.
Right.
They're actively involved in what's happening here and now,
Yes.
interwoven with the natural world,
Yes.
and even present within us.
Exactly. Boehme believed that angels were present throughout creation,
Wow.
participating in the cycles of life, death, and renewal.
Wow.
And he even suggests that humans have a kind of angelic nature within them.
So we're not just separate from the angels. We have the capacity to participate in their divine sport.
That's what Boehme suggests.
That's a pretty empowering thought.
It is.
I like that.
He believed that through spiritual transformation, through aligning ourselves with the divine light within,
Right.
we can tap into this angelic potential and become co-creators with God.
That's a lot to take in. But I have to admit, I'm finding this whole concept of angels to be pretty intriguing.
They are fascinating.
It seems like Boehme is challenging us to reconsider our traditional understanding of these beings
Absolutely.
and to see them in a new light.
I think that's one of the things that makes Boehme so compelling.
Yeah.
He takes these familiar concepts and reinterprets them through his own mystical lens,
Right.
offering a fresh perspective that can challenge our assumptions and expand our understanding of the spiritual realm.
And perhaps even inspire us to awaken our own angelic potential
That's the goal.
and to participate more fully in this divine sport
Yes.
that's unfolding all around us.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a really nice way to put it.
He's inviting us to participate in this ongoing dance between the seen and the unseen,
Wow.
to recognize the interconnectedness of all things,
Yeah.
and to see ourselves as part of this grand cosmic tapestry.
That's really beautiful.
It's amazing how Boehme manages to weave these intricate theological ideas with such vivid imagery from the natural world.
Yeah, I was struck by that too. Like, he doesn't shy away from the big questions, does he?
No, not at all.
We've touched on the nature of salvation and the struggle between good and evil.
Right.
But he also tackles things like the origin of evil,
Right.
free will,
Yeah.
or the very essence of God.
Mm.
There's a real depth to his exploration.
And what makes it even more compelling is that he doesn't present himself as having all the answers.
Right?
He's wrestling with these questions alongside us,
Yeah.
inviting us to join him on this journey of discovery.
It makes his work feel incredibly relatable, even centuries later.
It does.
It's not just some detached theological treatise.
No.
It's the journal of a soul,
Yeah.
grappling with the deepest mysteries of existence.
I love that, yeah.
And speaking of journeys, it seems that process and transformation are at the heart of Boehme's vision.
Absolutely.
He's not offering any quick fixes or easy solutions.
Yeah.
He's emphasizing the importance of a gradual unfolding, a spiritual evolution.
Right. He uses the term qualifying to describe these 7 fountain spirits.
Right.
Which really emphasizes their dynamic nature.
Right, yeah.
They're not static entities, but forces in constant interaction, shaping creation and our spiritual development.
You know, it's almost like a spiritual alchemy, isn't it?
It is.
This idea that we have to work with these raw elemental forces within ourselves and the world around us to refine our being.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Boehme believed that true understanding requires active engagement, a willingness to confront our own darkness, and to actively participate in our spiritual growth.
He even says that the understanding of them cometh by degrees and frequent loving conversation in all the parts and pieces he hath written.
So it's not about passively reading his work, but about wrestling with it.
Exactly.
Spending time with it, allowing it to transform us.
Boehme's writings are a call to spiritual awakening, not just an intellectual exercise.
And that sense of urgency definitely comes through when he talks about Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just some ancient myth. He presents it as an ongoing struggle.
Absolutely.
It's happening within each of us right now.
Absolutely. Boehme uses Lucifer's fall as a warning.
Right.
A reminder that the misuse of divine power, the elevation of pride and self-assertion, can lead to separation from God.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential for both good and evil within us, and the choices we make have real consequences.
He doesn't sugarcoat those consequences, does he?
No, he does not.
He talks about the fierce and bitter venom, the eternal hellish pain and torment that await those who choose the path of darkness.
He's very clear about the stakes involved, but I think it's important to remember that he also offers a path to redemption.
Yes, absolutely.
A way to overcome these darker impulses and to align ourselves with the divine light.
It does feel like a constant battle, though, doesn't it?
It does.
This inner struggle between our higher and lower selves.
Boehme seems to be saying that this battle isn't just happening within individuals. It's playing out on a cosmic scale as well.
You're right. He believed this battle between good and evil was woven into the fabric of the universe.
Wow.
He saw it reflected in the natural world.
Okay.
In the cycles of creation and destruction, in the very elements themselves.
It's almost like we're all actors in this grand cosmic drama.
We are.
And the choices we make have ripple effects.
Yes.
Not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
And for Boehme, aligning with the divine light isn't just about personal salvation.
Right.
It's about contributing to the restoration of harmony in the universe.
This all circles back to his concept of nature's language.
Yes.
It's not enough to just read Boehme's words.
Right.
We have to learn to read the book of nature as well, to see the divine reflected in everything around us.
Precisely. Boehme is calling us to pay attention to the patterns and processes of nature, to see the symbolic messages encoded within them. He believed that by understanding this language, we could gain deeper insights into the nature of God, the universe, and our own spiritual path.
It sounds like he's encouraging us to become more mindful, more aware of the interconnectedness of all things.
And to recognize that the divine is present everywhere, not just in sacred texts or religious rituals, but in the everyday wonders of the natural world.
Now, this all raises an important question. How does Boehme reconcile this mystical vision with traditional Christianity?
That's a really insightful question.
Does he see them as conflicting or complementary?
Boehme considered himself a devout Christian.
And
his writings are deeply rooted in biblical scripture. However, he goes beyond a literal interpretation of the Bible, seeking to uncover the deeper hidden meanings within.
So it's not about rejecting traditional beliefs, but about delving deeper, finding the mystical core within them.
Exactly. Boehme believed that true faith requires going beyond the surface, seeking a direct experience of the divine. He sought to unveil the hidden workings of God's creation, the spiritual forces that animate the universe.
He certainly didn't shy away from controversy, did he?
Not really.
His writings were considered pretty radical for his time.
Yeah. No, they weren't mainstream by any means. His unconventional interpretations of scripture and his focus on mystical experience landed him in hot water with church authorities.
Really?
But despite the opposition, Boehme remained committed to his vision, believing he was sharing essential truths that had been obscured by traditional dogma.
It sounds like he was walking a tightrope, trying to stay true to his Christian faith.
Yeah.
While also pushing the boundaries of conventional religious thought.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. He wasn't trying to create a new religion.
Right.
Or undermine Christianity.
Yeah.
He saw himself as revealing its hidden depths, offering a path to a more profound and experiential faith.
And it's clear that his work continues to resonate with people centuries later.
It does.
His message of inner transformation, of aligning with the divine light within, seems as relevant today as it was in his time.
Absolutely. Boehme's writings speak to a deep human longing for connection with something greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
He offers a path of self-discovery.
Okay.
A way of seeing the world and our place within it with new eyes.
It's clear that Aurora is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Boehme's complex and fascinating thought.
It really is.
But even these excerpts have given us a lot to chew on.
They certainly have.
And I think one of the most important takeaways from our deep dive today is that Boehme's work isn't just about acquiring knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about embarking on a journey of spiritual transformation.
It's a call to awaken to the divine spark within ourselves.
Right.
To see the world as a reflection of God's creative power. And to actively participate in the ongoing struggle between light and darkness.
He reminds us that this is a lifelong pursuit.
It is.
A process of constant refinement and growth.
Yeah.
And that every step we take towards the light is a victory.
I think Boehme would be happy to know that his work is still inspiring people to seek that light.
I think so too.
Even centuries after he wrote these words.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope our deep dive has sparked a curiosity in you to explore his writings further.
Me too.
And to discover the transformative power of his mystical vision for yourself.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the mystical world of Jacob Boehme.
Oh.
We've been exploring his ideas about salvation,
Yes.
inner transformation, and the language of nature. Now, I'm curious to delve into some of the more practical aspects of his work.
Okay, sounds good.
How do we actually integrate these profound mystical ideas into our daily routines?
Well, Boehme believed that true spirituality wasn't about escaping the world,
Right.
but about transforming it.
Okay.
He saw our lives as a microcosm of the cosmos, a stage where the drama of good and evil was constantly playing out.
So every choice we make, every action we take, becomes part of this larger cosmic drama.
Exactly.
That's a pretty powerful concept.
It is.
It suggests that we have a much greater responsibility than we often realize.
Absolutely. And Boehme didn't shy away from outlining what he saw as the ethical implications of his vision.
Can you give me some examples of how Boehme's teachings might translate into practical guidelines for living a more ethical life?
Sure. One of the core principles of Boehme's ethics is the importance of love and compassion.
That seems like a pretty universal principle found in many spiritual traditions.
It is, you're right.
But Boehme's deeper than simply advocating for kindness.
He does. He sees love as a fundamental force in the universe,
Okay.
the very essence of God.
Because it's not just about being nice to people.
Right.
It's about aligning ourselves with this powerful force of love that permeates all of creation.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful idea.
It is.
It makes even the smallest acts of kindness feel incredibly meaningful.
Absolutely. And Boehme also emphasizes the importance of justice and righteousness.
So it's not just about feeling good, but about acting in ways that promote fairness and equity.
Precisely. Boehme believed that true love was inseparable from justice.
Wow.
He saw the oppression of others as a violation of the divine order.
So he wasn't just a mystical dreamer.
No.
He was also a social critic, a voice for the marginalized.
That's right. Boehme wasn't afraid to speak truth to power.
Wow.
He challenged the corruption and hypocrisy of both the church and the state.
Wow.
He called for a society that reflected the love and justice of God.
It's inspiring to see that even centuries ago,
Yeah.
there were individuals like Boehme who were willing to stand up for what they believed in, even if it meant facing opposition.
His example reminds us that true spirituality isn't just about personal enlightenment. It's about engaging with the world and working to make it a better place.
This makes me think about how Boehme's teachings might be applied to some of the pressing issues we face today, like environmental destruction and social injustice.
That's a great connection.
Yeah.
Boehme's emphasis on the interconnectedness of all things.
Right.
His vision of nature as a reflection of the divine, and his call for love, compassion, and justice could offer valuable insights for addressing these challenges.
It seems like his work could provide a framework for a more holistic and sustainable way of living.
Absolutely.
One that recognizes the inherent value of all beings and the importance of living in harmony with the natural world.
Boehme's vision is both timely and timeless.
Now, I have to admit, I'm still struggling to wrap my head around some of Boehme's more mystical concepts.
Understandable.
Like the idea of the 7 qualifying spirits.
And those concepts can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
Even for those who are familiar with mystical traditions.
Can you offer any guidance on how we might begin to integrate these ideas into our everyday lives?
Sure.
It seems like a big leap from contemplating these abstract forces to actually applying them in practical ways.
I think one of the keys is to remember that Boehme saw these qualities as dynamic forces operating both within us and in the world around us.
So it's not just about understanding them intellectually, but about recognizing how they manifest in our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Exactly. For example, Boehme associates the astringent quality with contraction, separation, and judgment.
Right.
If we find ourselves constantly criticizing others or feeling isolated and disconnected, we might explore how this quality is playing out in our lives.
So it's about becoming more aware of our inner landscape.
Yes.
And noticing how these different qualities are shaping our experience.
Precisely. And by becoming more conscious of these forces, we can start to make choices that align us with the qualities we want to cultivate.
Right.
Such as love, compassion, and wisdom.
That's really helpful. It makes these abstract concepts feel much more tangible and applicable.
I'm glad to hear that.
And Boehme also offers practical advice for cultivating these qualities.
He does.
He emphasizes the importance of prayer, meditation, and self-reflection.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about thinking about these things.
How?
It's about actively engaging in practices that help us to embody them.
Exactly. Boehme believed that true transformation required both inner work and outward action.
This has been an incredible journey into the heart of Boehme's mystical vision.
It has been.
I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of his work and its relevance for our lives today.
It's been my pleasure to share this exploration with you.
Thank you.
Remember, Boehme's work is meant to be a catalyst for growth and transformation.
Right.
It's an invitation to embark on a lifelong journey of discovery and to awaken to the divine spark that resides within each of us.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Your insights have been invaluable.
I'm glad I could help, and I encourage all of you listening to continue exploring Boehme's work. And to see what treasures you might uncover.
We hope this deep dive has inspired you to delve deeper into the mystical world of Jacob Boehme and to discover the transformative power of his vision for yourself.
That's what we hope for.
Until next time, keep seeking the light.